welcome to the Center for Legacy Driven Leadership's webinar for adult leaders. This is the initial knowledge exchange webinar. Thank you for investing in your leadership development. And from the outset, I want us to be on the same page. Leadership occurs in many settings. So if you're here in this webinar as the leader of your company or the leader of your family, you are in the right place. Our focus in this webinar is creating transformation. Leaders may create transformation in one or two ways. The first way is more of a capitalizing on transformation where there's a sudden aha, there's a defining moment that completely changes a person's trajectory or the trajectory of an organization or family. And building on that, the leader can proceed in the vein of transformation. That's not what we're going for. A lot of people kind of, I'm wishing for transformation and don't really know that they can initiate it. That's what we're discussing in this time together. How we create, how we plan and strategically organize transformation, intentionally making it happen. So I have some recommendations to offer for those of us who want to create transformation and stretch our followers and our subordinates into a new way of living. Our learning objective, we have two learning objectives in this knowledge exchange. First, that you, the adult learners, will understand the importance of crafting a deliberate transformation initiative, not waiting for it to fall out of the sky, not hoping that people will just one day wake up different, but putting the effort in to plan a deliberate initiative. And then number two, our second objective is that you, the adult learners, will leave this webinar with the ability to analyze your current environment for the transformation plan. So the first step to creating transformation is to begin with a model, begin with a framework. It is not necessary to reinvent the wheel, to go and dig and grind out. There are models for transformational leadership all over the place. And these models can be adapted. They can be adjusted for your particular environment. Choose a model that's best compatible with your desired end result. So don't just begin and say, I want to see change, but begin with the end in mind. I believe that's a Covey principle. Begin with the end in mind, where you decide what is the end result I want to see. How do I want to see the people changed? How do I want transformation to affect this environment? And then you can modify it based on the people. In fact, you may have to modify your model based on your subordinates or followers. So I have two models that you're free to use. One is a famous model. The other is original. So you have my permission to use this content. All right, let's move to the next slide. Okay, so now that we're on the same page about how leadership works, and that if you're here, you are a leader. Our leading assumption, our foundational premise for this webinar is that there is among you, the participants, a steadfast belief in change. Transformation begins with the leader who believes change can happen. Do you believe that regardless of what the environment looks like now, change is possible? Maybe not to the degree you want, maybe not in the people you want just yet, but that transformation is possible, regardless of challenge, regardless of climate, maintaining an optimistic view toward transformation. If so, then you are in the right place. So let's begin with the first model. This is the transformational leadership model. This was an important theory in my dissertation research. And James Burns in the late 1970s is credited with developing this model. Bernard Bass is credited with building on this model. And we have these four components now to deal with. First, idealized influence. This is where the leader becomes the example, really taking to heart that transformation begins with the one who desires to see things transformed. I am the example, I am the model. And idealized influence is this way that the leader lifts a standard, lifts a high standard for achievement, raises the bar, if you will. And so a transformational leader, if you are interested in your environment to create some transformation, first component, idealized influence. Realize it's not do as I say, but not as I do, but do as I say with me. Okay. Number two, inspirational motivation. The leader inspires through a compelling vision, pushing, and this is important, the welfare of the team over the individual. So transformation broadens the scope. The job of the leader is to expand the vision, take the vision of the followers from a selfie to a panoramic view. That is the idea of inspirational motivation. Third is intellectual stimulation, where the leader stretches followers to resolve problems in a creative way, really kind of helping people. We use a popular phrase, thinking outside. That's what you do when you want to create transformation. You are giving people, sometimes people need permission. And so you're giving people permission to be creative in how they solve problems. And in a situation of challenge, in a tight spot, sometimes we find the most wonderful solutions and inventions because we were forced to be creative. The final component, individualized consideration. This is where the leader gives support through coaching and investing in the development of others. The leader has a way of making the object of their attention feel like they are the most important person in the world. So I'm sure you can see just by Bass's transformational leadership model how much effort it takes to create transformation, putting in all of this work on the front end to plan it out, to be strategic, and it'll be possible to see some change. So this model can be easily adapted to your environment when considering not just the people on the receiving end, but considering your increased level of interest and investment toward the people. So transformation calls for a perspective shift for the leader as well. The next model I call better people, bigger goals. And in the same language of lane and language of transformation, the first part of this model is that the transformation plan focuses on the people. Now, if you are like me, you like to make lists. You like to check things off. There's a sense of accomplishment when you check things off. And this could be difficult for you if you like to check things off, because focusing on the people means pulling some attention from personal advancement, pulling some attention from the organizational goals. But if the leader focuses on the people, both personal advancement and organizational goals can be achieved, can be positively affected. Number two, vision. Vision to help people become better people and stretch into their potential. The transformational leader helps people with their vision. This is rare, but it really is a simple idea that works. Find out what is of interest to your people. Find out where your people want to be, how long they think it will take them to get there, and how you can help them. Even in a workplace situation, if their ultimate interest is not tied to what the business does, that's fine. You can still find ways to adapt their tasks, to adapt their skill set, so that when they leave you, they have gained something. So help people refine their sight and develop their vision. This may take some time to plan, but helping people cultivate their vision can yield great results. That even if a person, you realize that an employee will become temporary, you may actually have their loyalty before they leave because you've taken time to invest. Third component of this model, having some SMART goals. I'm sure you're aware of this idea of SMART goals. So this is just a reminder. S is for specific. Map out one goal at a time. M is for measurable. How do we know we met the goal? What does success look like? A is for attainable. This is a goal that can actually be met. R is for relevant. Is this a goal that even matters to the subordinate, to the employee? And then T is time bound. Put a goal on the deadline. Fourth component, and this is an important piece for the transformational leader, choose your investment. Will you serve as a mentor or a coach? Both are hands on. Both are hands on. But here's the difference, the general difference between them. The mentor may enhance the employee with a new skill through challenges, but the coach helps you work with what you've already got. The mentor gives you keys, the coach helps you know which door your own keys go into. So I hope that makes sense. Here's a quote from the creator of the transformational leadership model, James McGregor Burns. In real life, the most practical advice for leaders is not to treat pawns like pawns, nor princes like princes, but all persons like persons. And this is a leadership quote. In real life, this is how we have to adapt shift our perspective. All transformation is not spontaneous. All transformation requires effort. The step in creating transformation is to study your options. There is more than one path to transformation. Consider all the ways to achieve transformation within the context of your chosen model. So let's say you've decided on the transformational leadership model. You have those 4 components. Now you want to drop that model into your specific context and see, okay, how can this work? Where are the paths to transformation? Spend the time, create the paths for your team as a unit, and consider individual development. Consider the ways you can reasonably coach them. What are the different ways within your model, and also you might consider within your budget, to create transformation? Let's get this slide moving. There it is. The third step to creating transformation is to now plan the change. How will you model transformation? What things will you implement to set the tone or the culture for transformation? Then, how will you reinforce or maintain the transformation? Remember, transformation is modeled. What does modeled mean? It means transformation is displayed. The leader will live it. It means transformation can be seen in practice, which means the leader provides a pattern to follow. And then transformation being modeled means the leader sets an example. You are out front. So if you don't like being out front, I hate to pop your pretty balloon. But as a transformational leader, there will be times you will be required for your team to catch on, to model before them what is transformation. Fourth and final step to creating transformation is to execute. We attend trainings, we gather information, We absorb and get fat on all of this great content. We read books, we listen to podcasts, we read articles, we do our own research, we Google, but none of it is worth anything except we execute. Stop attending a knowledge exchange expecting the information to take off on its own. Okay? Put feet to your notes. Bring your ideas to life on how to cultivate a culture of transformation. So that means you have to decide and dig a little deeper and say, okay, what is my intent as the initiator, as the creator of transformation? What is my intent? Not my motive, not my good intention, but what is my intent? What is the meaning of this transformation? Why is this new design necessary? What's the significance of this transformation? What's the end goal? We have to consider that. These are the things of transformation. Customize the model to your family, to your team, to your faith community. And when it's time to execute transformation, you should be deliberate. Leaders should be intentional. Consider the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how. That's where I want to sidestep just a hair and talk about goals. Um, as part of executing the transformation, it's important to consider what goals should be fluid and what goals should be firm. Particular attention to the goals that should be fluid, especially if you are that strict list keeper, because fluid goals make room for flexibility. I had a good friend one time. She owns her own business now in business consulting. But when I met her, she was a Mary Kay lady, and she was on a fast track promoting fast in Mary Kay. And she always used to say to me, "Don't get discouraged when it looks like you're running into roadblocks, which might be some things that are firm." But she was encouraging me to be fluid. She said, "Don't change the goal, just change the date." And so I share that with you. There has to be a component of functionality in your goals where some things are fluid. Because when the roadblocks happen, when there's a bit of disappointment, then you've built in some flexibility. If you're taking notes, this is a wonderful little quote to keep up with. "I am flexible, therefore I am not bent out of shape." And that's important when you are initiating a movement, when you are creating transformation, because there has to be a piece in there that makes room for being flexible. So the fluid goals, these might be expectations. Make room for feedback and adjustment. So when you begin to initiate transformation and people say, "Oh man, this person's different. I see them changing." That's one thing. But when you begin to expect this same kind of change from your team, from your family, from those you lead, there may be some kickback. And that's okay. That feedback will help you adjust your model. And then time. And I know it seems like on the surface, time should be a firm goal, but time is really a fluid goal. If you have to choose between changing the transformation goal or changing the time, change the time. And then the metrics, having the initial response, kind of cataloging. Do you like this? What do you think? What do you think? Don't let the immediate response change your goals one way or the other, whether it's overwhelmingly positive, overwhelmingly negative, or a good mix of everything in between. Do not let the immediate response change your goals. Okay, so those are the things that are fluid. Hopefully, you're thinking of other things that could um, be a little more fluid in your goal setting. The goals that are firm are the SMART goals. You know, needing them to be specific, needing them to be measurable, needing them to be achievable and relevant and time bound. And then the intent has to be firm, because the road to transformation is not a straight line. And so The intent has to remain firm that whatever this looks like right now, I see transformation. There are complaints, there's kickback, there is resistance to change, but that's okay. I see kickback. Anybody want a donut? Bringing in breakfast, bringing in snacks, bringing in gifts, building people, complimenting people, opening their understanding, opening their mindset, helping to shift their perspective. It's going to take work. So the intent has to be firm. And then change has to be firm. The fact that all of this effort is to create transformation, it is to create a change. Do not turn back once you decide to create transformation. Okay? So now we've got a good review. Step 1 in creating transformation is to choose a model. Step 2, study your options. This is where you can adapt the model, can see which one really works. Or, hey, I want to take a piece of this model and a piece of this model and add my own piece and make something really customized to the people I lead and serve. The third step, plan the change. The fourth and final step is to execute the change. Also, build some flexibility into your plan by knowing what goals are firm and what goals are fluid. Keep in mind that you are the example if creating transformation is your plan. You don't have to wait on a sudden and unpredictable or unforeseen change. Realize and state your intention. And regardless of the need you see and how dire you may think transformation is for the team, keep believing change is possible. Okay, I know that sounds like a good motivational hoorah, but I mean it. You To create a movement, you need some stick to itiveness. You need to know what things are firm shortly. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for investing in your leadership development. And I'm going to ask you to do a few things now. To follow the Center for Legacy Driven Leadership on social media. The handles are here. And we also have a YouTube channel where this webinar will ultimately end up. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, look at the videos that are already there, and let's stay connected.